Hi, in this video we are going to connect our database with the Express server and with the help of a package, and that package is called Mongoose. So you have to install it like npm install mongoose mongoose, and you have to install another package which will be used to save. We will use the env files to save our all of the credentials and the data, which will be dynamic we want. And if we want to get the data, then we have to get this package. So just click the enter, and so I already had both of these installed. So give it some time, it will get installed. It will be installed and you will find it here in the dependencies.env and mongoose. Now what we are going to do, we are going to create a file called .env, and we're going to put the connection string here. We're gonna say Mongo URI, which we got in the previous video. If you haven't watched my previous video, kindly watch it again. And that's the URI which you got, and I have appended these extra, so you have to pause and copy this out. So what's here, you have to change this password to what's your user password. On MongoDB, you must have created a user in there. I have already created a user called Shirbaz1 for it, and I have to provide the password for that user. And here, the database name, you have to provide that database name which we have created in our previous video, which was called LWC e-commerce. So you just have to provide like LWC e-commerce. So that's it from the env file. We can close it now. And now in our server folder, we are going to create a file. That's the way I like it. You can do it on your own, but I like this way. We are gonna say db.js, and here we are gonna import the mongoose. So we are gonna like import mongoose from mongoose. And now we have to create a function which will be called in our api.js, which is our server. So let's start creating that. Const connect db equals to sync. It's a function, and it should be async because we have to wait for this particular thing. And inside this function, we are going to say const con is equals to mongoose dot connect. Here it is, and it says URI, and then the object options, which can be object and callback. So from the URI, we're gonna say process dot env dot what we got in the env file, the name of the file mongo URI, process dot mongo URI. And in the options, so this callback is not required, but we have to provide the options. So for the options, I'm gonna copy paste a few options, and it will be like use unified topology to true, use new URL parser to true, use create index to true. So pause the video and copy this out. Oh, and the main thing is we have to await for that. That's where we have created an async function, and now we are gonna check that if it has connected or not. So MongoDB connected, and we are gonna say con dot connection dot host. So it will tell us that if it's connected properly or not. And these are the lines which are used. So we're gonna say export default, and we're gonna say connect db. And since we are using the async await, so we should always use try catch, so there can be any kind of errors. So I'm gonna put all of this in the try catch try block, and in the catch block we are gonna say we will catch the error, and we will say console.log error in connection, and the error dot message, and also we have to do process dot exit, and we will provide 1. So that's it from the database connection side. Now we have to call this in our API api.js, which is our server. So we will know that if we are able to make connection with our database or not. So let's go for it. So in the api.js, I'm gonna say const connect db is equals to require connect, I'm gonna say slash db slash, and we will say connect db. So whenever this server has run, it will automatically call this function, and this function will call this, and it should run. So before running the our server, we should just make a few things, because our type is not module in our package.json, so we have to convert it into const mongoose is equals to require mongoose. We have to convert it like this, and another change which we have to do, we have to put like module.exports is equals to, so it will be default export. If we do it like this in the curly braces, then it won't be a default export, but if we do it like this, it will be a default export. So I guess that's it from the database db.js. And one more thing which we have to do, we have to call that package which we have installed, that .env package. So we will be able to get this Mongo URI. So from our api.js, we are gonna say const .env equals to require .env, and then we will say .env .config. So now we will be allowed to use this process.env .mongo URI, and I guess that should be it. So there's another thing which I want to mention, like these options are not supported in our Mongoose package, whose version is 6 or above. So what we have to do, we have to make some few changes. We have to get rid of this, and we are just gonna provide the say async error, the callback, and if you are saying if error, then throw error, if error, then throw error, otherwise console.log that MongoDB is connected. And if there is, and I don't think that now we need this try catch, but still we have no problem in that. So I guess that's it. That should be it now. And finally, this line must be outside of the, because we cannot call the con before its initialization. And now let's go to here and look for that watch server, which is gonna call our start API, and it will call this API. It will start the .config, then it will connect to database, and we will see that if we are able to connect or not. So let's out npm run watch server, enter. API server started, and now we should see something like MongoDB connected. So I guess we should remove this line, and we will print out console.log MongoDB connected or not after the if throw error, because if there is a kind of error, then the process will stop and throw the error, and it will get in the cache. Otherwise, we are gonna see the MongoDB connect. So save, and finally we are gonna say npm run watch server. Fingers crossed. API server started. Yeah, now we are able to see MongoDB connected, so we are connected successfully without getting any kind of errors. So now it's time to create models for our database, which is the collections. So for that, I'm gonna create a folder. Inside my server folder, I'm gonna create a new folder called models, or models, whatever you want. And inside that we will create our all the models, like we will have a order model and a product model and a user model, but for now we're just gonna create the user model. So I'm gonna say user model.js, and in here we have to import the mongoose, require from mongoose, and after that we are gonna say like const user schema. I prefer this way. I have learned that from one and only Traversy Media, so you can check it out, and but you can do it on your own too, but I love this way. So I'm gonna say okay. So which fields do we want? We want a name field, which will be type of a string. So it will be string, and the required attribute for that will be true, because the name field must be required. And then there should be an email field, and the type of email should be string, and required must be true, and also it should be unique. So every user should have a unique email, so that's why we are gonna say unique equals to true. And then password is going to be type of string, and required for every user to true. So I guess that's it for now for this particular schema. And the last thing which we want to add is the timestamps. Timestamps equals to true, so we'll get the created date for each user in our model. And after that we are gonna say const user is equals to mongoose.model, and we're gonna give it a name. We're gonna say user, and we have to provide that user schema, which we have just like that. And finally we're gonna export it, so module.exports and user. So we are done with our user model, and that's it for this video. Thank you so much.